It's good to be up here, and if the Facebook posts are correct, we're all going to die tomorrow.
What? Yeah.
We're all going to die tomorrow. It's Snowmageddon, whatever. But hey, I am glad to be with you here, sharing my testimony here at the end of all things. Speaking of which, though, I have very basic questions for you. What color is snow?
Orange.
What color is paper?
White.
What color are clouds?
Orange.
What do cows drink? No, they don't. They drink water, but whatever. Yeah, there you go. Huh? Keep up. What do cows drink? Cows drink water, not milk.
Baby cows drink milk.
Aha!
Yeah, see, that's an exception. That's an exception. And that is a weak way of doing it. And speaking of which, that's rationalization, Heather. And that is something that I will get into in a little bit. So anyway, some of you know me. Some of you have heard me speak before, but a lot of you are new. And you're new to me. I'm new to you. And so I'm going to ask a very, very basic question first off. You know, some of you that have been around me, how many here, show of hands, think I grew up in the church? Raise your hand if you think I grew up in the church. Up in the church. Awana kid, anything like that. Two-parent home. Think I had a mom and a dad? Raise your hand. How many here care? Raise your hand. How many here don't care? Don't raise your hand. There we go. Right. See, I could do this all day. I mess with people's minds as a job, so I could do this all day. Anyway, with that being said, though, I am not gonna hold back. If you are squeamish, I'm sorry. I'm sorry ahead of time. Okay, I'm not holding back. I knew I was an interesting child. You know, when I was 4, when my mom told me that she pulled me out of the spacecraft in the forest. And I knew then that, okay, I'm definitely destined for something different, and that I'm probably not the most normal person around. But no, I grew up, my conception began as an accident. My mom felt bad about my dad, and so, you know, boy meets girl, that kind of thing happened, and I showed up. My mom decided to keep me. And my mom decided and my dad decided, okay, well, let's get married. My dad never wanted to get married to my mom. My mom never wanted to get married to my dad. I grew up. I didn't think anything of that. But then I noticed that Dad wasn't around a whole lot. 5, 6, 7, you know, he would work late, he would go out, and he'd come home smelling real funny. You know, his breath would smell real funny, and then my mom and Dad would yell at each other a lot. My sister came around. You know, my sister was, when I was 5, my sister was born. When I was 6, you know, so we grew up together and all that stuff. And my dad would keep coming home, and he would come home late. He'd smell funny, and him and my mom would get into an argument. And so my sister and I would stand up, and we'd sit there at the steps, like holding each other, like, oh, what's going to happen? It's so scary. Why are they yelling? Dad would leave. Dad would not come back for a while, come back in. But you know what? I still thought the world of him. I still thought that, you know, wow, this guy's so cool. You know, my life is okay. And I would go on, and, you know, he never really spent a whole lot of time with me. And so it was mostly my mom and I. And he would always tell me before he would leave, he'd say, you're the man of the house, Jason. You're the man of the house. You got to take care of things. You got to take care of your mom. You got to take care of your sister. And I would hear that all the time. You're the man of the house. You're the man of the house. Your father tells you you're the man of the house when you're a little kid. You're the man of the house. And you start to think that way. And I started to realize that, you know, I went to school. I didn't really get along with kids. I was kind of one of those weird kids. You know, I would say stuff, and people just, I don't know, gravitated, and they started picking on me. I don't know what to do. I didn't really think much of myself, so I would change for them. But then it got to a point, you know, when I was about 8 or 9, after enough was enough, and I just decided I don't want to be around people. I don't care anymore. So as I grew older, as I went into, elementary school, then middle school, like 7th and 8th grade, by 8th grade, I made the decision, I'm pulling away. I'm pulling away from everybody, because people just make fun of you, people are rotten, and I just want nothing to do with it. So I stayed by myself, and I thought to myself, okay, I'm just going to walk alone. I'm walking alone, I'm walking by myself. Nothing's going to go wrong. I still have my family. I still have my life. I'm not weird anymore. Then I find out that my dad's been cheating on my mom for the past 11 years. And find out mom and dad are getting the dreaded D word, divorce. And I thought to myself, I was devastated. Not so much that, like I was sad about my mom and dad splitting up. I was upset because now that was something to make me even more weird. Because everyone else at school, seemed to have perfect lives. Everyone else at school seemed to have, families. Like a mom and a dad and, like a healthy thing. And here, my mom and dad argue all the time. My dad's breath smells funny when he walks through. And I thought, well, at least they're together. Not anymore. And he didn't really spend a whole lot of time. I mean, he wasn't very active even then. But as time went on, his idea of spending time with us was coming over and sleeping on the couch. And he was a good dad. And I'm not disrespecting my father by any means. I'm just calling it like I see it, okay? Because at the end of the day, I still love him. Well, now I pulled away. I had no one to talk to. I wasn't interested in talking to anybody. And I decided that, I had these feelings, but I didn't want to share them with anybody because every time I had a friendship, it would just blow up in my face. Well, here's what happens. When you don't deal with problems and when you think you can handle stuff on your own, you pull away. I got older, okay? Now there was no dad around, and I'll be honest with you, we're talking about beards, we're talking about all this stuff. I went to a school where you had to shave. You had a little bit, like this 5 o'clock shadow I would have gotten in trouble for. You had to shave. And I had to watch the infomercials infomercials and Gillette commercials to see how people were shaving. Because I didn't have anybody to watch, to show how to shave, and I thought it was embarrassing that I didn't know. So here I am watching, and I'm like, oh, they go up, okay, they go up, and that really hurt, when I'm first starting it, I'm like shaving upwards, as a 15-year-old kid, and then I realized, oh, we can go down, nice, okay, you can go down, and it's not so much about the shaving, it was the fact that there was really nobody there to show me how it was, and I was too embarrassed to ask, way too embarrassed to ask, and as I'm doing it, I just feel alone, very alone. And then I start to feel sad. And it's okay to feel sad sometimes. That's right out of Mr. Rogers. But, when sadness starts to hit you longer and longer. I mean, it's one thing to be sad for 1, 2, 3 days, maybe a week, but then it starts getting worse. And then, 2 weeks pass, 3, 4, 6, 3 months, 6 months. And I lose interest in things. Now it's not so much even I'm sad, it's that nothing just seems pleasant anymore. I would eat just because I was supposed to, but I really didn't get much of an appetite of anything. Nothing was really fun, I didn't laugh much anymore. And I thought to myself still that my dad would say, I'm the man of the house. I have to take care of things. I have to take care of my sister, I have to take care of my mom. My mom, I'm sure, with the way the divorce rate's going right now, there's probably, I can probably split you down the middle, and half of you probably are dealing with either parents who are separated, divorced, or are in the process of it. Okay, so I know where you're coming from with that. And that it hurts people. Like I watched my mom, I watched what it did to my mom. So she was hurting, so I was there for her. And I never told her what was going on with me. I never said anything. And my grades were up in school and all that, so nobody really cared. So I would be there for her, I'd be there for my sister, and I would just invest, and be there and put up this big, big front. Everything's okay, I'm fine, I'm great, I'm awesome. But I wasn't inside. And I was getting, sadder and sadder and sadder. And then finally, like, I broke down and cried, and I finally told my mom what was going on. Went to see some guy, he called me, said I had depression, and he gave me some pills. I didn't like the way those pills made me feel. I was 16, 17. I didn't like it. I mean, yeah, I felt a little better, but I was like, oh, now I'm even weirder. I have to take a pill. I have to take a pill to function normally. What is wrong with me? And so whatever I was feeling in my brain from the pill, I'm now like feeling just because I'm like, oh, I'm such a loser. I have to take pills. And I started to get angry. I got angrier. So deep inside now, I was not only sad, I was mad. Then I was just downright angry. And there's a difference. Because now it got to a point where people would wrong me and I would hold it against them. I would think about stuff and I would have like really, really dark, nasty thoughts. And I'd hold on to them. I had a really good memory. Still have a really good memory. And that's a blessing and a curse when you think about all the people that have crossed you or all the people that have wronged you at some point. And the funny thing is, too, about anger, and this is, going into some psychology stuff, but the less you deal with your problems, they come out as anger. So you have stuff that's not finished. You have things going on. You have feelings that you haven't really gone through yet. Just take my word for it. It comes out as anger. So now I'm depressed, taking pills, angry. Then I'm depressed, taking pills, angry. Now I'm anxious because, oh man, I'm anxious, oh jeepers, what if I lose my temper? What if I lose my cool? What if people see me weak? What if all this stuff happens? So now I'm worried about keeping up my front, and it's exhausting. I come home and I'm done. And then I met a girl. 17, I met a girl. She kind of dropped her hint and said, hi, I don't have a date for the semi and all that. I was like, oh, if you want to go to the semi, and we hit it off, things went well, and we started dating. And I thought, wow, okay, I was just waiting for this girl the whole time. No, it wasn't Donna. Okay. So I think you kind of know where that went, all right? But we dated, I crossed the line. I danced on that purity line, okay? I danced on it. We went as far as we could with it. And I dated. I thought that was good. But deep down, I was still angry. I was still sad. I was still, anxious. And, now the doctor's giving me pills because now I'm sad and now I'm anxious. And the sad medication is making me more anxious, and the anxious medication is making me more sad. So now I have to get all these other things, and I have 3 pills now. And I got to a point, I was like, oh, no, I'm done with that. I'm done. I'm not even doing that anymore. I'm just done. Well, that didn't go over well. But I held it together as best I could. I limped through. Graduated high school a loner, except this girl. Went to college, same deal. And I thought, oh, you know what, this girl, I think we should just take the next step. I asked her to marry me. I was 20 years old. 20 years old when I asked her to marry me. Okay? I thought again, yes, I found a girl, I found a wife, and I can not make the mistakes my dad did, and I can, love a woman the way they should be, and, I'm not going to do those things, and there it is. But you know what? That relationship blew up in my face. Completely blew up in my face. She broke up with me. I broke up with her. New Year's Day. The ball dropped. Happy New Year. Let's break up. And let me tell you, that hurt. That hurt real bad. I thought I was sad and I thought I was angry before. It hurt even worse now. So I went and I just, I raged at the world inside, just raged. And again, I was living a normal life. I was going to work. People liked my job. I was holding a 4.0 average in college. People were like, you have a bright future. You have an awesome career. Everything can go well for you. So, out in front, I was looking good. But inside I was really messed up, and I was really dark. Eventually, we turn to things to cope, good or bad. We have to deal with our feelings somehow. Let me take a guess. Let's throw it out there. Those of you that have heard, don't answer. What do you think I turned to? Did you tell him?
No.
Okay. No. You know why? Because my father came home drunk. I swore off alcohol. I said I would never touch it ever again. And I thought, you know what? And I thought I was better than anybody else because I wasn't touching the alcohol. I thought I was better than everybody. I'm not touching the alcohol. No, I'm great. Preston. What? No, because I have asthma. And I watched my mom. And I watched my mom and dad smoke, and I hated the feeling, hated the smell. And they told me, my mom used to say to me, smoking cigarettes is like tasting a potato chip. If you don't know, if you never had it, you'll never know what you're missing. So I did not smoke cigarettes. I didn't smoke cigarettes. Huh? Did I turn to God? No. Marijuana. Yeah, there is an amp there. Marijuana. The mind-altering drug that legal is 14 states and calms you down, kills your brain cells, and moves things on. Yes, it does. It removes the axons, the protein connections between the brain. Yes, it does. No.
What?
No. Yeah. Told you I could do this. I could do this all day. Anyone else want to take a stab at it? I gave you a hint. That was a hint. Anyone want to take a stab at it?
What was the hint?
Usually this is something girls do. But you know what, guys? You know what? It's just as popular with guys as it is girls. Put your hand down. I'll get there. It's just as popular with guys as it was girls. And so what I decided to do one day while I was at work, I was unloading boxes, and I thought, I'm just angry. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do with this. So I took the box cutter right across my shoulder just to see how it would feel. And guess how it felt? It felt great. Really. And you know what? I thought I was so messed up for liking that feeling. I was like, what kind of demented, sick person am I that when I inflicted pain on myself, I liked it? So I threw in the towel. I started cutting some more, just making cuts. But I never showed them. There's certain types of cutters. Okay, I was what they call the classic cutter. All right, I hid them. Nobody could see them. No one would know. You know, and people throw it all out there all the time. Oh, it's a cry for attention, blah, 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 blah. Look, someone's cutting. It's a serious thing. Okay? Problem with it is I would get that relief temporarily. I'd get that relief. I'd do it. I'd cut it. I'd cut it. I'd cut. But you know what? I started having to do it deeper because you know what? I did it to feel pain. I wanted to feel the pain. And so I would cut deeper. I would drag it slower, longer. And eventually what happened was I decided to experiment and ended up in the ER with an 8-inch gash across my chest. Here to here. I still remember the feeling. I still can see the gape, and I still can hear the sound to this day. And sometimes I still feel it, I still hear it, it comes back to me sometimes, okay? 10 stitches, 40 staples. No, 10 stitches, 30 staples. The doctors were so shocked at what I did to myself okay? Doctors were so shocked at what I did to myself that they were like, whoa, wow, wow. And they forgot to numb me as they were sewing me up.
That's nice.
But you know what? I was so defeated. I was so depressed. I was so down that day. I didn't care. I could honestly say I didn't feel it. And what I did feel, I thought I deserved it. So I'm just laying there as they're sewing me up, and you can feel that all the way through. And then they're stapling me shut. So then I had to go to this room where I had to talk to this person, because apparently when you put an 8-inch gash in yourself, they worry about you. And they worry about you. They worry about you, and they might want to put you away. And so I talked to this crisis worker, okay? And he was trying to tell me that I belong in this hospital. I belong in this hospital because I'm a danger to myself. And I'm saying, no, it was an accident. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't want to die. I just, I was cutting and it went wrong. And, he was not the most pleasant person to deal with. And he was very judgmental, condescending, things like that. And I flew into a rage for the first time. For the first time in public, I flew into a rage. I was so loud that the security guards came over. And this guy's like, we're just having a little chat. It's okay. And I'm thinking, no, buddy. You're in a lot of trouble. I was angry. I was really angry. Okay? And he's like, well, I'm going to talk to the psychiatrist, and I'm going to, we'll make our decision and all that. And he left. And I started crying. I bawled. And it wasn't because I made such a wound in myself. Not so much that, as it was that when that guy was leaving, I was so angry. I was plotting on how I was going to kill him when he came back in the room. I thought this was it. They're going to put me away. I'm going to take him down with me. I don't care if it was a 2-week, 3-week stay. He was going down. It was all or nothing. And as I thought those things, and as I saw, and as I made the plan in my head, and I had a martial arts background. I was a black belt by this point. I could have done it. That disturbed me. That rocked me to the core, to no end. And my mom had gone to church. My mom had gone to Cross Creek, and she had brought me here, and I've been in and out of youth groups and things like that, but I never really clicked. I was like that outside kid. I was that kid that no one really noticed, but it was just because I wasn't that social. I would just come in and sit down and then leave, because I thought youth group was like school. You just sit there and learn. That's it. You're done. At that point, when I realized, whoa, I'm at this point where I'm thinking about really killing somebody. And then I looked at my chest, and I looked at my arms, and everything I felt, I just lost it. In the middle of that crisis room, I lost it, and I just started bawling. And it's funny because, I didn't think much of God then. I really didn't. I mean, I knew he was there. I never doubted his existence or anything like that. I would talk the talk. But at that point, there was just something there. There was something I felt. And I remember praying, and I remember crying, and I said, God, I've ruined my life. I ruined my life in between sobs and heaving and all that. And I said, I surrender my life to you. No matter what happens, I surrender my life to you. Crisis guy walks in. And I'm not going to tell you I felt peace. I was scared. But I had said, okay, God, this is it. Whatever you want, that's it. He let me go home. They screwed up. They screwed up real bad. They let me go home. So I went home, and I was in bed, and I was recovering, and that's when I decided, to pick up a Bible. I picked up a Bible like this. I didn't have much money, but I bought this Bible, or not this Bible, but I bought a Bible in the old Gifts from Above up in Dallas. And I remember saying to God, listen, I'm grateful that you got me out of the hospital. all that stuff. But, and I was starting to get to know Dan, and I was starting to get to know, like, people in the praise team and stuff like that. So I was kind of around Christians at this point. But I remember saying to God, I want to look at this Bible. I don't want to be led astray. I don't want to be caught up in like some emotional thing. I don't want to be caught up in some cult or religion. You've got to show me that this is real. Like I told you I'd give you a shot, but you really have to show me that this Bible is more than just, you've got to show me that this is this word that everybody's talking about. And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, haughty, whatever. I just said to him, I'm really vulnerable right now. I can't get hurt again. I need to know if I'm going to put into this, if this is going to be real. And so I did my part. He did his part. I did mine. I opened it. And I started reading. And it was interesting because I would hear things. And every time I would read, I would get some things that would encourage me. Then I would get some stuff that it was like definitely like wham, right there. It was like God wrote it for me and was challenging the way I was thinking. I'm like, that's strange. Okay. Fine. And it started happening more and more. I would open the Bible and I would get things. And I'm like, okay, that's definitely not the way I think. And then I would read and I would be like, oh, hey, this here, it says it over back in this book too. Huh, it's weird. Then I'd be like, oh, wait, it's here, here, and here. It's repeating itself. And it's telling me the same thing. So then I got to a point where I was like, you know what, because every time I opened the Bible, I was getting challenged. But it felt good, too, at the same time. It was weird because I had to change, but it was good because it was like I was getting something. I was getting feedback for the first time. I was getting like someone to tell me and teaching. I felt like I was being taught. And then I started going into Chronicles. Okay, like the historical, I'm like, I am not going to get convicted today. I am not going to hear anything bad. I'm opening up Chronicles. And boom, I get it again. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I went to Numbers. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to find it in Numbers. There's a lot more to Numbers than Numbers, guys. I learned a lot more in Numbers than I ever wanted to. Okay? And it just came over and over again. And I'll share one of the verses that really hit me. Because I still, I was reading, I was, enjoying a relationship with God at this point, but I still felt inadequate. I felt like, man, I'm hanging out with the praise team now doing the sound, which was a perfect job for me at the time, because I was able to kind of stay in my own little bubble, but I still had to interact with people, and people would come to me and we would talk. So I was starting to, interact. And Dan was the first person that I told, the first Christian that I told about what I did to myself. And I'll never forget his reaction. Nothing. Wasn't shocked, didn't condemn me, didn't say I'm going to, repent, anything like that. He just said, wow, I'll pray for you. That was something. And then I shared it with more people I trusted, Christians that I trusted, and it was like, oh, okay, these people love me for who I am. But you know what? I still kept looking in the mirror, and I still kept thinking to myself, I am some messed up person. I used to cut myself, and I would watch. My dad wasn't there. I still had questions about manhood. I still had all this other stuff, and I remember thinking I am such a dirty, rotten person. And I don't know how God could love me. And then the verse that I will never forget, my absolute favorite verse, I got hit with, just reading because I wanted to read. I wasn't looking for answers, I was just reading. And here it is, it was Zechariah 3. And it says, "Then the angel showed me Jeshua, the high priest, standing before the angel of the Lord. The accuser, Satan, was there at the angel's right hand, making accusations against Jeshua. And the Lord said to Satan, I, the Lord, reject your accusations, Satan. Yes, the Lord who has chosen Jerusalem rebukes you. This man is like a burning stick that has been snatched from the fire." And I'm getting choked up now reading that. That hit me. And then it went on to say, Jeshua's clothing was filthy as he stood there before the angel. So he was standing there. He was standing before God. He was dirty. And even though Jeshua looked dirty, God said to Satan, no, I reject your accusations. And not only do I reject your accusations, I'm correcting you. This guy's like a stick snatched from the fire. No. You are totally off base. And so, it says here, going into 4. So the angel said to the other standing there, take off his filthy clothes. And turning to Jeshua, he says, see, I have taken away your sins. And now I am giving you these fine new clothes. Boy, sounds like something Jesus did for us, huh? Talk about the Old Testament bringing the New Testament to light. And that I was like, wow. Okay, and I really started to believe that, well, no, I believed it, but I was really starting to get this idea that, you know what? God loves me. God loves me as a dad. I never had a dad. That's weird. He loves me. Despite what I did. He made me different. He saw all the stuff and all the things I ruined with my life, and instead of handing me off to let my sins, all the stuff that I did wrong, because I made those choices. Instead of that, he saved me. He changed me. Gave me new clothes. And it was funny because he gave me new perspective too, because I would look at myself in the mirror getting changed in the morning, and I'd see the scars. I still do to this day. I see the scars. And I used to be ashamed of them. Well, I still am. I'll be honest, I'm still ashamed, but I was like, oh man, I'm broken. I'm messed up. I was just reading again. Just happened to be reading. Okay? Galatians 6:17. It's popped out. From now on, don't let anyone trouble me with these things, for I bear on my body the scars that I belong to Jesus. And it wasn't some victory thing, okay? But now I'm grateful. I wish stuff was different, okay? However, I'm grateful for what I see, because I look in the mirror now, and I have a reminder that I lost my battle with sin. I lost. And I was well educated. People call me smart. People call me funny, bright, all this kind of stuff, and I lost. I couldn't do it. I was a psychology major. I understood human behavior. I understood the mind. I understood emotions. I was one of the best in the class. So I knew more about how the brain works and how feelings work than probably most adults. I still lost. I couldn't win. And those scars remind me of that. They keep me humble. And it's funny because, a lot of people will end their testimony with, and I found Jesus and I lived happily ever after. But that's when the story starts. That's when life started. That's when I really started to feel alive. That's when I started to grow. That's when I started to, understand things. And I met Donna years later, not like right away, years later, because God still had a lot of work to do in me. He still had a lot more work to do with me. I'm not perfect. And I'm up here and I'm saying these things, and I will bear all this out to you because I'm a youth leader. That doesn't mean I'm more spiritual than any of you guys. I need Jesus just as much as you do. And if you guys think you don't need Jesus, I really hope you don't go to a situation I'm in where he makes it very obvious. We will lose when we try to fight ourselves. We will lose when we try to there's nobody that can do anything. But and what really got me, and what really the more I read, and the more I read about God, and the more I knew about Jesus, Jesus became a superhero in my eyes. I used to think he was some kind of just some nice guy, but real soft and just whatever. And I really didn't relate to him too much. But as I'm reading about him, I'm like, this guy's smart, this guy's tough, this guy's amazing. And I thought about it too, I made it personal when Jesus was carrying his sins when bearing my sins on the cross. He was struggling with my He was struggling with my anger, my depression, my anxiety, my urges to cut, my, dark, sick stuff I was thinking about other people. And the difference between him and me was that he beat it. I didn't. Every time. He beat it. And so now I have someone who I can relate to, who I can pray to, who I can talk to, who overcame it, who knows what it's like. I mean, he personally dealt with the things I had. All the feelings, everything I'm going to do and all I ever had, he felt and he dealt with. He understands perfectly what's going on with me. The difference between him and me is he beat it. And then you start to think about that. You start to think about, if you try to help someone else and they're not really willing to help you, and you're just kind of dragging them along, and emotionally they're just kind of that's tough. That's a heavy burden to bear. And Jesus pretty much carried my sin. I did nothing for it. Carried my sins. And not only that, carried my sin, carried yours, Jim's, Brian's, Dan's, all these people, and he still beat them. Boy, that really made me think, wow, Jesus is one tough guy. And he did that while he was critically wounded too, by the way. I had one gash across my chest, and that slowed me down. Cat of nine tails, when he got flogged, nine, inflicting the same thing. He got 40 and some lashes. 39 lashes. 39 times 9. That's how many wounds he had. So while he was still critically wounded, he still dealt with the sin. That made Jesus like a Superman in my eyes. God really did. And it's funny because I'll tell you, Brian talks about it a lot. We say it so many times, it's good to read your Bible, it's good to pray, and all that kind of stuff. And, I didn't open the Bible thinking, well, today I'm going to stop cursing, or today I'm going to start doing this. I didn't. The more I read, the more I understood about God, the more I started to see, wow, there's a side to God that I haven't been taught. There's a side to God that there is no one up here on the podium that can show me. He's got to show it to you himself. And you know what? I started losing interest in those things. I lost interest in cursing. I lost interest in feeling angry. It just happened. The more I spent time with God, the more I spent time in prayer, serving too. I was out there. I was in the praise team, in the sound booth. I was serving. I was just going out there and working. Not because I wanted people's praise or affection, but just because I wanted to do something. I just wanted to do something. And I thought, you know what, if I can hit those lyrics the right way, if somebody comes to Christ, singing a song, because I hit the lyrics the right way, great. Or if I could just set the mood, if I can help set the mood, it's good. And Donna has her own story, and I won't infringe on her story. Okay? Because hers is just as incredible, and I was along for that ride. But I'm telling you how I came to Christ. And look, I work with troubled kids for a living. I know the stats. I know the stats. I know that not all of you have it all together here. And I know that, there are those of you who may appear to have it all together, but you're not. And you don't. And that's okay. I'm not trying to call you out. I'm just saying you're not alone. You got people here who have gone through these things. I'm not perfect. I'm not, you know what I mean? I need Jesus. And you know what? You tell me something, you're not going to shock me. You're not going to shock any of us. Okay? But learn from my mistakes. Learn from what I did. Don't hit rock bottom. Come now. First thing is just recognizing, I'm not making the right choices. That's okay, guys. It's all right to admit that. Because if we're going the wrong direction and we're doing the wrong thing, you might as well do something different. It just makes more sense. It seems reasonable to me. But I'm not going to beat a dead horse because, I think there's something about the Spirit of God, and I think you guys know what's going on. So look, I'm going to pray. Not going to do anything else. But if you want to talk, whenever you're ready, you can. But the most important person you really need to talk to is God. Because He knows what's going on with you. And just drop the brave face. You don't have to say all the right things and the nice things and all that kind of stuff. He knows. So yeah, talk to us. I'm here for you. Brian's here for you. Dan, Jim, Mackenzie, Donna, all of us are here for you. But, you're not going to change. Your life's not going to change until you talk to God. Until you meet Jesus. That's where it's really going to happen. So I'm going to pray. Father, you know the hearts of these rooms, and you know the heart of the kids in the room, and you know mine. And God, I'm not perfect, and I thank you every day for showing me grace, and I thank you, God, that no matter how much I fumble, I mess up, that you're always there. And Father, I just pray that kids tonight, people here, can just see a different side to you. Because we hear all these things. We hear things about you, but how many of us really know you? So Father, I pray that you introduce yourself to some of these kids tonight, because I know they need you. Help us to be loving. But God, I pray that you guide them to you. You draw them to yourself. Make them feel safe to talk to you. And we ask all this in your name. Amen.